well, the night before Sunday, I was like kind of getting my stuff ready for the next day. And actually, I was making a list for myself, and I wrote down on the list preset costume instead of like put my outfit out like for the next day, because I was like, how do you write that? And I was like, oh, preset costume. Like I still think of like what I'm wearing to work as like my, like, oh, this is my physical therapist costume, and I need to preset it for the next day.
Welcome to Recast and Rise, the podcast for performers and creatives ready to explore what's next. You'll hear inspiring stories of artists who reinvented themselves and found new careers after the stage. Let's recast and rise. Sasha, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. You were a solo aerialist for Cirque du Soleil for many, many years, and now you were a doctor of physical therapy student. Your journey is very special, very incredible. And of course, I want to hear all about your transition, your career transition. But can you just tell us a little bit about, not a little bit, all the things about what you were doing when you were a performer?
As a performer, the last thing I was doing, I was with a Cirque du Soleil's show Love that closed just about a year ago. I was doing aerial straps, which you did as well as a backup for a little while, years ago.
Full circle.
Yep.
Now tell us what you are doing exactly.
I'm in school. It's a doctor of physical therapy program. In my second year right now, and I just started my first clinical rotation. So that means I'm in the real world in a clinic, heavily supervised, but seeing patients and treating them in Vegas. And so I have a little more of that. I'll do 3 clinical rotations, more school, pass the boards, and then hopefully start working after that.
That's so great. So would you say that becoming a doctor of physical therapy student was a passion at first, or you knew that this is something that you wanted to do as a new career?
I'd call it a passion in the sense that it was more something that I had to figure out. I knew that my career as a performer was gonna end well before the age of retirement. Like I wasn't gonna get to 65 as a straps performer. So I knew there was gonna be a point in time that I needed to make this transition. So I was kind of like always keeping my eye open, like, what am I interested in? What else do I like? And I knew I wanted to work in rehab for a long time. I was a caretaker to someone who had a pretty serious accident many years ago when I was a performer. And I helped him quite a bit through the rehab process, through his recovery. And it was tough. It was, a hard, kind of sad process because it was a bad accident that happened. But I also realized like, oh, I'm pretty good at this and it's really interesting to me. So that was kind of the first thing that like piqued my interest about rehab, and I wasn't sure what that meant at the time. And for a little while I was exploring like, should I be an athletic trainer? Because those are the physios that I worked with quite a bit at Cirque. Or should I be a physical therapist? I just didn't really know much about those worlds, but I knew I was interested in the rehab process.
Wow. Interesting that you had to go through that that moment with your friend that you had to take care of, and that to realize that this is something that you were actually interested about,
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like something good that came out of a tough situation. I mean, he's fine now, so it's not, terribly sad, but but yeah, and it just was that moment that kind of opened my eyes to a new world, and something that I realized like, oh, it's not a complete departure from the world that I'm in now, because there's still like, movement involved, there's still creativity involved, and you're still working with people that need to use their bodies, like, because we all do, whether you're an athlete or performer or not. So it was just like, yeah, a really kind of eye-opening experience. And like I said, like, I didn't know exactly what it meant at the time, but it did kind of like make my ears perk up, like, oh, okay, like there's something here for me.
Yep. Everything happens for a reason. That's a great example of that. What step did you take to become a doctor of physical therapy student? Like, where did you start? Was it when you were at Cirque or after?
Yeah, I mean, I got my undergraduate degree while I was performing, and I actually took a lot of these steps while I was performing, kind of chipping away part-time. I spent 3 years doing prerequisites just to be able to apply for grad school. I was doing that while I was performing. I was shadowing at a lot of different clinics and a lot of different settings with a lot of different populations of patients, which is also it's a requirement to apply to grad school, but it's also, or in my case for my program, it is, but it was also very informative to like get out of the setting that I was in with Cirque and check out all the other rehab settings and populations that I could work with. So I spent a lot of time doing those observation hours and trying to just like get into as many different clinics, as many different settings as I could to just gather information for myself besides like beefing up my grad school application with observation hours, just gathering that information, seeing what the life is like, seeing what my life could be like, seeing like kind of all the different options, just like gathering data. And then I applied to grad school and I was just like, I didn't know if I was going to get in. I was like, I just want somebody to, if somebody can just like let me in school, I'll be good. And actually, I got in right away, which I was surprised by. And now, like I said, I'm in my second year of school and, just started clinical rotations and just plugging along. So it's been a long path, but I chipped away at so much of it while I was performing. So that made it feel more manageable, less like just one huge thing to tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very smart. You did your research and you started while you were still performing.
Yeah.
Did you have fear when you realized that it was probably time to pivot?
I mean, yeah, all the time. I still do. Like before starting this clinical rotation, which is like kind of a big next step in my education, I'm like, what if I don't like this? Like, what if I get out there and I've just spent all these years and all this time and all this money and I get there and I'm like, oh my God, I don't like it. Because you can't really, there's a lot of things you can change, but like if you don't like something, then it's like, oh my God. But I mean, long story short, I really, really like it. I'm good. I love it. But I feel like the point is like every step of the way, I'm like, what if this happens? What if that happens? It's scary. It's scary because it's such a commitment, it's like I said, it's just like so much time, energy, money, and then what if any number of things happens? But I think actually, like, and I think about this a lot, like having this performance background is really helpful because we did so much scary stuff. Like, think about all the scary stuff we were doing all the time, like
all the time.
Yeah, like putting ourselves in some pretty extreme positions of like vulnerability. I would say, even if like besides the physical stuff, just going out there, sometimes you're in a new spot or whatever, something's different and you got 2,000 people watching you plus all your bosses, whatever, like, and that's not even addressing like the physical risks. So that I draw on those experiences quite a lot actually when I'm like, I'm scared right now. Like, okay, well, like this is what it is and we just push through. Like you go out there and you do it. But yeah, it doesn't, I think it's like, I tell myself like, okay, I'm scared, but like we're doing it anyway. Like we still do it.
We can do hard things.
Yeah.
What kind of people would you say that you needed to circle yourself around when you transitioned?
My husband, for sure. I think my husband, my friends, like a few close friends, my family, some mentors that are really positive influences for me, people that just like kind of cheer me on and lift me up when I'm feeling overwhelmed or stuck or like, doubting myself or whatever. I think like everybody needs that. And I hope I do that for other people also when they need it, people that are close to me. And then just tuning out the noise that doesn't make me feel good, whatever voices or influences or, internet, whatever, like just noticing like that doesn't make me feel good, gonna push that away and get some more of the good voices, which are, just like, my circle that I trust. I mean, my husband is probably like at the top of that. Like every time I'm like, I don't know if I can pass this test. And, just someone to be like, you're good, you're smart, you're, just be that voice that you can't be for yourself all the time.
Yes. Oh, I love that, Bobby.
Yeah.
How did your identity get challenged when the stage was not there? You were the aerialist. You're this, you're the performer. You wear the wig, you wear the costume, the makeup. This is gone. Did you have that moment where like, whoa, who am I now? I'm not that character. Sasha.
It's funny. It's funny because before my first day at the clinic, just this past, the night before Sunday, I was like kind of getting my stuff ready for the next day. And actually, I was making a list for myself, and I wrote down on the list preset costume instead of like put my outfit out like for the next day, because I was like, how do you write that? And I was like, oh, preset costume. Like I still think of like what I'm wearing to work as like my, like, oh, this is my physical therapist costume and I need to preset it for the next day. It kind of made me laugh. So like I still, it's funny, I didn't wrap my identity up in being a performer, like I think ever. I never completely identified as like, I'm a performer, I'm Julia at Cirque du Soleil, the Beatles LOVE. I am an aerial straps artist. Like, yes, I'm those things, but I didn't make it my entire life. I think I was always like just careful about that because I know it's temporary and I know it's a thing that I do, but it's not, or a thing that I did at the time, a thing that I was doing, but it's not all of who I am. And I think it's important to like make that, to distinguish those between those things. I try to remind myself like, yes, I'm this, but I'm also these other things. I'm a parent, a partner, a daughter, a sister, a friend. Like I have all these other interests also. I'm not just defined by this one thing. So when that one thing goes away, like I still remember like who I am, what's important. It doesn't mean like everything has to unravel because this thing that you were doing isn't there anymore.
Quick pause. Thinking about your next career move, wondering what's next, but you don't really know where to start. Let's connect. And be sure to subscribe for more inspiring stories and career tools. Now, back to our chat. Did you have to learn new skills, obviously, to transition from your role as a performer? And if so, which I'm sure there are, but list or give us an ideas of things that you're like, wow, I did not expect that. I needed to learn this, or, so yeah, if you can expand on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with school, there's tons of information that I'm having to cram in my head and physical skills and to treat people. And I mean, there's, a whole body of information that I'm still in the process of learning. But there's actually been like a lot more crossover from performing than I thought there would be. I wasn't sure like how my background was going to help me, but things like understanding movement, understanding biomechanics, even just like intuitively, has been a lot more valuable than I expected. And then there are things like about my identity, like we were kind of talking about that, but I think this question like kind of addresses that also. Like there are parts of my identity that I think I left behind as a performer, and parts that have like kind of surfaced that were there. And in some ways, for me at least, in this situation, I think they're kind of like, they are better parts of me. Like I've had to, hone in on being a better communicator, being more empathetic, connecting with people, being more patient, things like that I've always valued. They weren't as valuable in my previous job as a performer necessarily, but I think they were there. I've just had to like bring them to the surface and use them more often. So yeah, it's just, I guess what I'm trying to say is like there's a lot more crossover than I expected, and I'm drawing on a lot of my previous experience more than I thought I would.
That's awesome. What would you say? So maybe I was about to ask you, were there moments where you wanted to give up, as if it's in the past, but you're very much in it? Like, are there right now moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm out, I can't do this?
I'm very stubborn, so I wouldn't say give up. But there are definitely, I mean, all the time moments that I am feeling like super overwhelmed. It's tough right now. Like, so I was at the clinic every day from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., but I still have coursework with school, and I have a family. I have a human physical body that I need to take care of also at some point. Like I need to, try to eat, and a house and a cat and a dog. Like there's some days I'm like, oh my God, I need to sleep. Like it's just like, it's a lot right now. Like I'm like, oh, maybe I should have a social life too. Like it's, just overwhelming sometimes. Like that's what it is. But I mean, these are such like silly problems to have, or not silly problems, but like they're non-problems. Like I'm kind of reminding myself like, okay, you're fine. Everything is fine. Like it's just a lot going on right now. It's all good stuff. And I don't know, I just kind of let myself have those moments like
Yes, yeah.
I'm overwhelmed right now. Like I have a little fit in my head, you know, like just let myself have it, and it goes away. It passes. And so yeah, I wouldn't say I'm never feeling like I want to give up, because I actually like really love what I'm doing. I'm always like excited to learn and like to keep going, which is like to me that I'm like I chose the right path for myself, and I'm really, really happy about that and grateful for that. But yeah, it's not easy. Like I just yeah, you have hard days and you have better days, and that's what it is.
Yep, I hear you. You were just saying that you need to take of your body. Obviously, when we were performers, that was implied. We were taking care of our bodies, performing, training, all the things. Now you don't perform, but I'm assuming you still train for fun. Tell us more about that transition there.
Yeah, it's time-wise, it's tricky to figure it out for sure, but I realize I don't have to stop training or doing straps or doing other acrobatics just because it's not my job anymore. And that was like a big realization for me, that I thought, you know, when I stopped performing, like it's gotta just stop. Like there's no reason to do it anymore. And I realized like, oh my gosh, like I can do this for fun, like because it makes me happy, for exercise, like to stay connected with the community. And that was like just a really obvious thing that I didn't figure out right away. So yeah, finding the time is tricky now and then, but I realized like, hey, I still love to do this. My body like really craves it. It makes me happy just to move that way, to be creative that way, to still have that element in my life, to keep it in my life. I don't have to just like close the door completely just because it's not it's not what I'm relying on to make money. I can like just do it for fun. Just such an obvious thing that it took me a little while to figure out.
I'm so glad you're saying this, because again, to go back to the identity piece, if you are a performer that's really attached to your identity, you probably cannot see that you can continue training outside of your craft, outside of the show, or when the door closes, right? And to your point, it's so obvious, like, yes. So it makes the transition, or it can make the transition even smoother. What would you say to someone who is stuck, who feels stuck, and is a little bit scared to pivot?
Yeah, I would say it's normal. Like it's a big question to answer. It's a big step to take. I think performing especially is like a little bit of a drug. There's nothing like it, and like you shouldn't expect there to be something that will replace that, because you're never gonna there's really nothing like it. You're not gonna have those like highs and lows and like, you know, 1,000 people clapping for you or watching you or like having those like that adrenaline rush or whatever. But you don't have to replace it. You can find something else that you enjoy, and just think about, you know, where you would be in a few years if nothing changed at all. I would think about this sometimes, like, okay, if I was still with the show, I would have done another 500-600 shows like of the exact same thing, especially if you're, you know, like on a resident show or a touring show. Like, you know, you're doing the same thing every single day. And I'm not saying there's not a lot to learn and as a performer, and like, you know, there's a lot of ways you can learn and grow and develop, but ultimately you'll have stayed in the same place. And then think about, you know, where you would be in the same amount of time if you started like right now. I think a lot of people are scared to make the change because it seems so daunting. Like a lot of times it's like there's so much to do to get to where you want to be. And like that was me for sure. Like it's going to take me years, like so many years, but I started there, or I started on the path before I stopped performing. So you don't have to do it all at once, I guess is what I'm saying. Like I was still performing through most of this process. Like, and like we all know performing isn't forever. Like you don't need to train all day, every day. You can make some space to start building towards the next chapter because it's going to happen. And it'll feel good to you to diversify your skills so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket that has a shelf life, and that shelf life has an expiration date that's going to come well before your retirement age. So, like, you can just start chipping away. Or if you don't know what you want to chip away towards, like just explore what you like, find other things you enjoy, other things that interest you. And I think like for me, it always made me feel a little bit more secure. Like, you know, doing straps, like I was like, man, I'm relying like my whole life, all like my whole income based on like a couple joints in my body. And like, you know, things can change like really quickly. So to just have that like in my back pocket, like, okay, I'm building, like I'm working towards something else. Like it made me feel a lot more like calm and secure. Like, okay, I have a future, I have something else. And even if you know, if you don't get hurt, it's like it's such a crazy industry. Like there's not much stability. So I always found a lot of comfort in working towards something else that was a little bit more stable. And I think I'm lucky to have found something that I like really, really enjoy, but and that I really love, but it'll never be the same as performing. Like it's never going to be that drug. But I'm honestly happy to be, I think I like went through withdrawal in a way for a little bit, but I'm happy to be like a little bit more balanced, to not deal with that stress of like, you know, those days where like you're hurting and you still have to go out there, or like, you know, I love being able to fall asleep at night without like waiting for my like adrenaline to come back down. So like there are pros and cons. I guess I kind of went around a lot of different circles with that answer, but I think long story short, like it's scary, but just start chipping away. Like, and you don't have to make the jump all at once. Like chip away at something. If you're like, hey, this isn't for me, you won't have lost anything. You still have your job. Find something else that you can start chipping away at also, and like just explore, see what sticks with you.
Brilliant. Sasha, what is next for you?
I mean, I'm just getting through school still. So what's next for me is finishing school, finishing these clinical rotations, pass the boards, which is all kind of part of finishing school, all of those things. So that's really like my big focus, and then get a job. So my degree will be a doctor of physical therapy. So I'll get a physical therapy job, and I'm pretty, I'm not sure at the moment. I'm trying to like kind of keep an open mind about like what setting I want to work in, things like that. I still have some time to figure it out. I'm still like looking around and exploring. Like that's part of the point of these rotations. They put you in different settings and with different populations, see where you fit, what you're good at, what you like, things like that. So, yeah.
I love that. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
I guess as something that I think I didn't realize how much being a performer, how transferable some of those skills are. I guess I can say. I think like the focus that you have to have, the attention to detail, precision, how hard you have to work, how consistently you have to work, all of those things are really valuable skills. Even if you don't get into a world that has anything to do with the body or movement, you're not starting from scratch necessarily. Like those, you have developed a lot of very useful skills that you can transfer to another career, another field, even if it has nothing to do with what you were doing. So I think it's good to just, you know, remember that, to quiet some of those doubts and boost your confidence in making a transition.
Do you miss putting your wig on, do the wig prep? Let's talk about makeup, all the things. Oops, I only have one shoe. Run back to the dressing room.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. I didn't wear a wig, so
Exactly.
I didn't put I don't miss dyeing my hair. I miss I don't miss doing the show, but I miss like hanging out backstage and like messing around the dressing room. Like that's the stuff that I miss for sure. Like I mean, like, you know, hiding behind a laundry bin and jumping out and scaring someone and then like getting in trouble for it because like you made them scream during like a quiet moment of the show and like stuff like that. Or like
classic.
Yeah, or like, oh, today we're gonna like I don't know, in opening nurse, like in a harness cue, like we're gonna play rock paper scissors in the air or whatever, like just like silly, like playing games like that. Yeah, I miss that kind of stuff for sure. But
yeah, those are the magical moments. Sasha, thank you so much for today. Our chat was really helpful. You shared a lot of great insights, and I'm sure a lot of performers will take all of the beautiful things that you shared. And yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If today's story made a difference, share it with a fellow artist and creative friend. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast and follow me on my socials for tips and tricks to navigate your career change. Until next time, I will see you in the next episode.